Hi, my name is Dave. I'm your host. You're listening to The Last Podcast, where the first shall be last and the last shall be first. If this is your first time listening, welcome. I'm happy you found me. And if you're returning, welcome back. I really appreciate you listening, and I hope you continue to find tips, ideas, and value from listening to this podcast. Today, I want to talk about how our past shapes our present and how we can change the narrative for our past to make it a more positive future. All right, so I have a question for you. When you reflect on your past, what do you see? Okay, I got another question. I'm just full of questions today. What story do you tell others when they ask you about it? More importantly, how does that story shape your current reality? It might be time that you might think about your past story, and it might be time you might tweak or change or just make a few changes in your narrative of what you tell yourself. Not by forgetting the past or anything of that nature, but by freeing yourself from the grip of painful experiences that no longer serve you. While our past may hold difficult moments, it does not dictate our future. If you find yourself constantly revisiting mistakes, dwelling on past experiences outside of any major trauma or PTSD, or feeling stuck in the past, this podcast is for you. So, what is our past all about? The past is what? Simply the past, right? While it may have left physical remnants, like let's say something old like a bridge or a scar, or events themselves are no longer happening, yet many of us relive painful experiences by replaying them in our minds, allowing them to shape our emotions and our decisions. So, do you do that? Do you constantly remember things in the past, bad things, and constantly replaying them over and over? This is not about ignoring consequences or pretending events never happened. Instead, it's about recognizing that the story you tell yourself or anyone else about your past influences your present and your future. Do you realize how powerful your thoughts are? Let's consider an example. Imagine you discovered your spouse, right, was unfaithful last year. At the moment, you were shocked, betrayed, angered, confused. But once you found out the event was over, right? However, replaying that discovery in your mind over and over and over again, you turned a single moment into a reoccurring nightmare. Each time you relive the betrayal in your thoughts, you bring back that painful emotion, giving the past control over your present. As a result, your ability to trust may erode, affecting your future relationships and even preventing you from experiencing love again. But here's the truth. The event no longer is happening. It's only your thoughts about the event that continue to cause you pain. I believe that our thoughts in our minds are so powerful, it can not only make us feel good, but it can harm us as well, physically too. I believe that. Although the past itself cannot hurt you anymore, the meaning you attach to it can. By shifting your perspective, you can break free from old wounds and create a future filled with hope, trust, and possibility. The past is unchangeable. We all know that, right? But the way we carry it forward is entirely within our control, letting us take back the power that we once lost. Like when that person cheated, they had that power at that moment because we got angry, we were upset, or whatever the case may be. But the minute we let go of all those feelings, we take our power back. So some of us carry deep-rooted beliefs, past experience, and unresolved issues as well. It has silently shaped our lives. But have you ever paused to truly examine your own story? Have you? Well, the other day I was in a store. I'm going to tell you this real quick. The other day I was in a store and I noticed a woman struggling to manage her young children. And I'm quite sure a lot of moms know what this is like. They were running wild, grabbing things, shouting, and darting in every direction. Frustrated, she would yell, put them back, and then sternly correct them. For a moment, they would settle down, but within minutes, the chaos would start all over again. Do you know something? Our thoughts are just like those unruly children, scattered, restless, and constantly pulling us in different directions. If we're not mindful, they can take us to places we never intended to go. That's why it's crucial to stay aware of what's happening in our minds. By staying, some of the times we get on autopilot. We just let our minds drift, right? When left unchecked, our thoughts can create unnecessary stress, doubt, negativity, stealing our peace, and shaping our reality in ways we don't even realize. The good news is you can extrapolate the good out of your past to reshape your life story. Now, I didn't say you're going to have to forget what happened to you or what you've done to someone else. I'm not suggesting that at all. I'm just merely saying that you have an opportunity to reshape the narrative you tell yourself and others. For example, let's just say you have some resolved issues and those issues are holding you back. It could be trust issues, right? So, or even if somebody was to cheat on you, like I said before, instead of focus on the betrayal, you choose to remember the good moments or what you shared with them. You can appreciate the joy, you can appreciate all the laughter, and even lessons learned. When you think about the end of that relationship, the moments they cheated, hey, reshape your perspective. Instead of holding on to the pain, be grateful for the growth that came with it. Perhaps their lessons led you to discover true love, finding inner peace, or experiencing a level of happiness you never even thought possible. Reframing your past is a way that allows you to move forward with strength and gratitude rather than resentment. I love a good movie, and I'm quite sure all people do. I love it. It doesn't matter. For me, it could be action, sci-fi, but for you, it could be romance, drama, or suspense. But what I truly love about a movie, and what, in my opinion, what makes a good movie unforgettable is the storyline, the narrative. The narrative draws us in. It keeps us engaged, and it makes us feel something, doesn't it? The power of a story. It can make you laugh. It could make you feel joy. It could make you feel sorrow, excitement, or even frustration. Now think for a moment. Think real hard right now. Think about your own life story. How does it make you feel? More importantly, how would you like to feel when you tell your life story? And if your life story were a movie, would it be one that inspires and uplifts you? Or would it be the kind of story that kind of weighs you down? The good news is here, you have the power to reshape your own narrative. You can build your own storyline that is more inspiring and empowering and uplifting for you. And then when you tell it to other people, your life story won't be just a collection of past events. It has meaning. It has a meaning that you attach to them. And again, I say, while you can't change what happened to you in the past, you can reshape the way you interpret your past and use it as a foundation for a much brighter, more inspiring future. Now, I want to give you a few steps on how you can first acknowledge your current story. Because without acknowledging your story, you wouldn't even know what to change. So I want you to take time to reflect on your story, your current story that you tell yourself and others right now. I want you to take time and write out on paper your story. Your life story. This is going to take you a little while. It's not going to be something that's going to take you probably a day or two. It may take you a week. It may take a month. But this work is mind-blowing, and I'm being honest with you. Take time to reflect on your life story that you currently tell yourself now. Write it down on paper. Write down your narrative, and then ask yourself these powerful questions. Are you ready? What themes dominate my life story? Is it a story of victimhood, struggle, resilience, or triumph? I'll say it again. What themes dominate my life story? You have to ask yourself, is it victimhood, struggle, resilience, triumph? And if so, of course, you're going to have to write it out. And it has to show that as you write it out. I got another question for you. Do I focus more on pain and setbacks in my life story, or growth and lessons? Now, I'm telling you, I've been through this work, so I know it's mind-blowing. I got another question. How does this story make me feel about myself and my future? Well, let me give you an example of what I'm really talking about here. Let's say I've always been unlucky in love. Every relationship I've ever ended or ever had ended in betrayal. And I find it hard to trust anybody. That can be part of the life story you tell, but is it true? And if so, what facts back that up? Because whatever story you tell, your life story is not going to fit on one page. When I say write your life story, acknowledge your current story that you have, it's like writing a book. It's like writing that motion picture that you tell people. So that was step 1. I have step 2 for you. You ready? I want you to, and I talked about this in previous podcasts, I want you to identify any limiting beliefs and negative patterns that you might hold on to, have, or that you believe, and it carries you throughout your life right now. You want to review your story and pinpoint limiting beliefs and negative narratives that are holding you back. Write them all down. It's important. And then when you write them all down, I want you to ask yourself these powerful questions. What beliefs have I formed based on my past experiences? Then I want you to ask yourself, are these beliefs 100% true, or are they just interpretations? If so, how? I have one more question I want you to ask yourself. How have these beliefs shaped my decisions and emotions? That's very powerful. If you do the work, you'll find some life-altering moments that you can see how you'll be able to reshape your life story, and it would have a big impact on your future. So, I believe, if I was to give you an example, I believe that people always leave me. Because of this belief, I push people away before they can hurt me. I know a lot of people like that. I know quite a few people who push people away because they're afraid that that person will leave them. All right, I got step 3 for you. Reframing the narrative. You're going to take each negative belief and reframe them into a positive, empowering one, okay? How do we reframe any of those, right? So I'm going to give you an example here, right? Instead of I was abandoned, say I learned resilience and self-reliance. Because when you were abandoned, you had to work things out on your own, right? You have to find ways to do things, right? Instead of saying I failed, I've gained valuable experience and wisdom. Now I know what not to do. Let me try something new to do. Instead of saying I was hurt, say I grew stronger and wiser through this. Yes, I've had a heartbreak, but those experiences helped me understand what I truly deserve in love. Now I'm open to receiving a healthy and fulfilling relationship. You see my point? I got step 4 for you here too. So in everything you have to try, in my personal opinion, this is one of the hardest things I've ever had to do, was try to find the silver lining in every chapter. And what do I mean by that? For every painful experience, ask yourself, what good came from this? Write down at least one positive lesson or outcome from it. What did I gain from this? Right? I want you to write that down. And there are some simple questions and powerful questions I want you to ask yourself. What did I learn from this experience? How did it make me stronger or wiser? How can I use this lesson to inspire or help others? Now, if you want an example, I'll give you this. Losing my job was devastating at the time, but it pushed me to start my own business. Something I never would have imagined. This is true for a lot of people. I'm telling you right now, lose their job and they start their business and become a whole lot better off because they've started it. But I have a step 5 for you too. I want you to rewrite your life story with a new perspective, a new narrative. Take everything you've learned from the previous steps and rewrite your life story as you were the superhero of the narrative. Focus on strength, focus on growth, and transformation. So how do I start, right? I know that's probably what you're thinking. Start where you are, right where you are. You've done the work, you've done the steps. Now put it all together. Highlight the turning points where you've learned and grown. End it with a positive and hopeful vision for your future. I'll give you an example. Hang on. I once believed I was destined for heartbreak, but now I see that every challenge in my past has been preparing me for something greater. Each experience taught me resilience, self-love, and the courage to embrace new beginnings. Today, I choose to see my life story as one of strength and transformation. I am not a victim of my past. I am the author of my future. I want you to think about your own story and make it as powerful as that statement, right? Speak and live with a new story and make sure you do it daily, because this is going to help you solidify brand new thoughts. Begin telling yourself a new story, both with you in mind, and I tell you, say it out loud. Say it to anybody who will listen. Every time your old thoughts try to creep back in, consciously replace them with your new narrative. Write a daily affirmation that reflects your new story. Speak positively and passionate about yourself, about your past, especially about your future. Surround yourself with people who help support your growth, people who are inspiring, people who are uplifting. I always messed up relationships is an old example. A new one would be I am growing, learning, and becoming the best version of myself for the future loving relationship. You can reframe your entire life, your entire past, and you can make a positive impact in your future. So use your story. Once it's all written, I want you to start inspiring others. Help them. If you see that somebody can use what you've learned, help transform their lives as well. Because this kind of work has the power to uplift others. It will help you find ways to create a new journey in your life through writing, speaking, coaching, or even everyday conversations. Ways to share your story can be like start a blog, a journal about your own transformation. People who lose weight do that all the time. Heck, I even got one about weight loss. Encourage your friends and family going through similar struggles. But I do have a final thought. Are you the author of your own story? Are you a victim or are you a victor? Your past does not define you. Your perspective does. By reshaping your life story, you can reclaim your power, find meaning in the past experiences, and create a future that inspires both you and others. Take action now. Choose one negative belief you have today and reframe it. But do the work, because when you do the work, it's going to be mind-blowing. It's going to help you reshape everything you've thought about yourself. And it's going to be more empowering, more powerful. Begin writing your story with strength, wisdom, and hope. Decide to live as your own hero, because you are. So start today. Start now. My name is Dave. You're listening to the last podcast, and I hope that this was good food for thought, and I hope that you really do the work. And do me a favor, go ahead and like and subscribe. And if you would like the steps that you can take to recreate your narrative, just email me and I'll email you all the steps in a written form, in a written format. I would love to do that for you. My name is Dave. You're listening to the last podcast. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like. Go ahead and press that button now. Like and subscribe. I really appreciate you. Have a blessed day. Bye-bye.